Hey everyone! Today we're unpacking one of the absolutely most monumental, earth-shaking clashes in all of medieval European history. Welcome to this explainer. I am literally so thrilled to guide you through this material because, honestly, the story of the 1410 Battle of Grunwald has everything. We're talking shifting alliances, massive geopolitical stakes, a battlefield deception that completely changed the course of history, and a cultural legacy that people are still fighting over today. Let's just jump right into it.
Right out of the gate, just consider this number: over 50,000. That's the estimated number of combatants who squared off on the fields of Prussia in the summer of 1410. I mean, in the context of medieval warfare, a battle of this size is almost incomprehensible. We're talking about two massive, highly organized armies clashing in a grueling bloodbath that lasted for 10 relentless hours. To understand how such an enormous force ended up here, we really need to look at the powder keg that was Eastern Europe at the time.
Section 1. The Road to War. So how exactly did the Teutonic Knights and the Polish-Lithuanian alliance arrive at this breaking point? What's super fascinating here is the rapid collapse of the Teutonic Order's main justification for war. You see, they were a monastic military order, originally brought in to crusade against pagans, right? But looking at the timeline, in 1385, the Union of Kreva joined Poland and Lithuania through marriage. And then by 1387, Lithuania officially converted to Christianity. Suddenly, the Teutonic Knights had, well, no pagans left to convert. Their entire religious rationale evaporated. Yet in 1409, their Grand Master went ahead and declared war anyway, sparking the Great War that leads us straight to our massive showdown in July of 1410. Okay, let's dive into this. If it wasn't about religion anymore, what was it actually about? The answer is pretty simple: land and money. Beneath all the religious rhetoric, the conflict was really rooted in fierce territorial disputes over the region of Samogitia, which the order held, and highly lucrative trade considerations. The Teutonic Knights controlled the lower reaches of three massive rivers: the Niemen, the Vistula, and the Dagava. Whoever controlled those rivers basically controlled the entire economic lifeblood of Poland and Lithuania. That intense economic and territorial tension really just set the stage for an inevitable explosion. Section 2. Clash of the Titans. Let's compare the two colossal forces that finally met on July 15, 1410. On one side, you have the Teutonic Knights. They were this wealthy, highly organized monastic state fielding devastatingly effective heavy cavalry and super expensive mercenary companies. Now on the other side, King Jagiello of Poland and Grand Duke Vytautas of Lithuania brought an incredibly diverse coalition. They combined Polish heavy knights with Lithuanian light troops and even brought in Tatar auxiliaries and Bohemian warriors. So it was really a clash of a rigid, wealthy military tradition going up against a vast, multinational alliance. And this brilliantly illustrates what that chaotic, massive melee combat actually looked like, captured way back in the 16th century Lucerne Chronicle. Notice the sheer density of the combatants, that absolute forest of lances, and the tangled, brutal reality of it all. The armies collided near dawn, and the fighting was incredibly fierce. The Polish heavy cavalry held the left, while the Lithuanian light cavalry took the right. For hours, they just ground into each other. But then, something happened on the Lithuanian flank that would define the entire battle. That movement on the flank brings us to the tactical heart of this explainer, Section 3, the feigned retreat. The historical sources tell us that after more than an hour of heavy fighting, the Lithuanian light cavalry broke and fled the battlefield. For centuries, old Polish chronicles painted this as a cowardly flight. They claimed the Lithuanians simply panicked and ran away, leaving the Poles to fight all by themselves. But, as modern historians have re-examined the evidence, a very different picture has emerged. We have to ask, was it panic, or was it a brilliant, calculated trap? Let's move to and see how this builds step by step. In step 1, the Lithuanians engage. Then, in step 2, they execute a simulated retreat, riding away toward the forest and marshes. Step 3 is the critical error. The Teutonic Knights, thinking they've won that side of the field, break their disciplined formation to eagerly pursue the fleeing Lithuanians. And finally, step 4. This reckless pursuit rips a massive gap right in the Teutonic lines. The Polish units immediately surge into that gap, completely enveloping and crushing the order's left wing. This maneuver is known as a feigned retreat. It's an ingenious planned trap to draw out the enemy, famously used by the Golden Horde and adopted by Grand Duke Vytautas, who had actually experienced it firsthand years prior. Now, the definitive proof that this was a deliberate trap came centuries later in 1963, when Swedish historian Sven Ekdahl discovered a letter written by a German official shortly after the battle. It explicitly warned the new Grandmaster to watch out for the exact same kind of feigned retreats that ruined them at the Great Battle. It was an absolute tactical masterstroke. Once that trap was sprung, the battle shifted irreversibly. Section 4. Fall of the Knights. The aftermath of the trap was just absolute devastation for the Teutonic Order. The Grand Master himself, Ulrich von Jungingen, charged in with his reserve, hoping to turn the tide. But he was killed, literally struck through the neck with a lance. Leaderless, the surviving knights retreated to their camp to build a makeshift wagon fort, chaining their carts together for defense. But, in a massive twist of irony, the Order's own camp followers actually turned on their masters and joined the hunt. The defense was completely broken, and thousands more died in the chaos of the camp. To really grasp the staggering reality of this defeat for the Order's leadership, consider this number: 203. Out of roughly 250 to 270 Teutonic Knight brothers present at the battle, 203 were killed. I mean, that is a near total wipeout of the Order's elite commanding class in a single afternoon. So the crucial point is perfectly captured by historical accounts, noting that the Order never recovered militarily from the defeat, and their economic power was absolutely obliterated by reparations. Even though the Knights actually managed to successfully defend their capital castle at Marienburg after the battle, the Peace of Thorn in 1411 imposed a crushing financial burden. They were forced to pay a grueling 100,000 marks in reparations. That essentially bankrupted the monastic state and ended their golden age for good. But the end of the physical battle was really just the beginning of the story. Section 5. An enduring cultural myth. What makes Grunwald so fascinating is how it's been shaped by historical memory over the last 6 centuries. Just look at how diverse its legacy truly is. In 1878, Jan Matejko painted this massive, heroic canvas of the battle that became a huge touchstone for Polish and Lithuanian national pride during the era of Romantic nationalism, basically serving as a symbol of resistance against the German and Russian empires. Later on, communist governments heavily utilized the myth in state propaganda to justify post-WW2 border changes. And today, it remains highly revered, with streets in Ukraine named after the battle and commemorative Jubilee coins issued in multiple countries. It's almost like a mirror, reflecting whatever the current era needs it to be. And incredibly, the physical past is still yielding new secrets today. Recent archaeological digs at the site, led by Dr. Szymon Dreja, have unearthed perfectly preserved battle axes. Dr. Dreja actually called it an archaeological sensation, noting that in 7 years of research, they hadn't found anything quite this exciting. It's so cool because it gives us a tangible, chilling connection right back to the mud and the blood of 1410. And the public's fascination is only growing. Look at this massive number, 200,000. That's the number of spectators who flocked to the battlefield in 2010 to watch the 600th anniversary reenactment. Thousands of reenactors put on actual armor to recreate the clash. It's become one of the absolute largest medieval combat reenactments in all of Europe, proving that this historical moment is still very much alive in our modern consciousness. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought for today. The swords were dropped, and the treaties were signed over 600 years ago, but does a battle truly end when the swords are dropped? Or does it fight on, reshaped, reinterpreted, and reborn in a nation's memory? The Battle of Grunwald was won with a brilliant tactical trap in 1410, but the tale it spawned has conquered centuries. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the history around you.